right, welcome to our second review of the evening in Xenon Valkyrie or Xenon Valkyrie Plus. I think that depends on the platform you're playing it on, because like the Steam version is just called Xenon Valkyrie, but like the PlayStation versions are called Xenon Valkyrie Plus. Yeah. I was wondering about that. Yeah, it's like I'm not exactly sure what the difference is, because nobody here has a PlayStation version of this. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this thing does exist for the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation Vita. Even got like a physical release there.
Oh man.
Yep. Limited run games. But anyway, Xenon Valkyrie is one of our maybe not favorite genres, but certainly one of the most common. Well, a couple of the most common kinds of games we come across since we review a lot of indie games. It's a side-scrolling platformer. Yeah, no, this is an actual platformer, not just a side-scroller, since you are jumping from place to place. And
not side-scrolling. It's kind of all direction scrolling.
Yeah, well, it's more vertical than anything else.
Yeah.
Like, there's a surprising amount of verticality in this game.
Yeah, you always, for each stage, you start at the top and have to get to the bottom. It's just you may also have to go from left to right.
Right.
Or right to left. Or right all the way to the left side of the map in order to get down and then all the way back to the left.
Yeah. But the point of the matter is, you're more concerned about going up and down than left and right.
How low can you go? How low can you go? Kinda.
Thank you for that. And more to the point, this is a roguelike or roguelite or whatever the fucking distinction is. Like, it's got rogue elements in it.
Of course it is.
It's pretty roguelike, but it's the kind where you can unlock things to potentially make later runs easier.
Yeah, it's your Rogue Legacy standard, like, you know, the randomly generated levels, the permanent upgrades if you get enough material, which I'm trying to remember, it's called like
Teamerite.
Teamerite, there we go. Like,
which is not when you're in the levels, you use cells to purchase things, but you can buy Teamerite if you get a ton of cells, and if you accomplish specific things, you can get a couple extra.
Or if you beat a boss.
Like, right, you get a couple for beating bosses.
Like, you can also save your progress, so to speak. Like, every time you complete a section, you can, if you've got the right materials, you can open a portal to that section, and that has its ups and downs.
Namely, that you get to that area, and you can be sure, and you can get the nice stuff from going past that area. But also, you don't get the nice stuff that you would have gotten on the way to that area, and each time you go past a boss area, the enemies get significantly more health.
And they hurt more. More significantly, you're not going to be as powered up as you are if you go through the long way. You will get some tech points, but you probably won't be as strong as you would be if you went through the sections.
Like the first time I actually managed to beat the first boss in the first section of the game, I got it was like Pike of the something soul. It was a weapon that does like, your starting weapon does like 5 to 8 damage. This one did like 24 to 26 or something.
Yeah,
I was one hit killing most things throughout the entire first section, but then once I got past the first boss, suddenly even the basic enemies were taking 2 or 3 hits again.
And that gets into the other part, the soul-crushing difficulty. Yeah, you're gonna die. You're gonna die a lot. I'm like, and this is the reason why I've played the game for only 4 hours. Well, only one. One of 3 reasons. The other game we had this week took up most of my time, and more to the point. So there is a big element of this game that really killed it for me, and that is not the controls, the game feel.
The controls feel just a little bit slippery.
Yeah.
And the jumping mechanics are a little bit off.
yeah, everything feels um, very slippery, like too slippery for its own good, especially when you're like wall jumping and shit.
Which is important, and I did not even realize you could do it the first time I played, but that's because I didn't check the controls first. But yeah, you can wall jump up any pretty much vertical surface.
Yeah.
And
Like,
you don't have to triangle jump. You can same wall jump quite easily mostly. But sometimes when you're trying to jump to something that's right above your head, you'll like slip off the ledge you're trying to jump off of.
Yeah.
And that's no fun.
Yeah, that's what really killed it for me, because everything felt very loose and cheap, and it's not something that you can really get from watching footage or from screenshots,
Mm-hmm.
because the game looks pretty fun
Mm-hmm.
and is pretty fun in a vacuum. It's just
it's not a bad game. It's just this is a very well explored a combination of a few very well explored genres. So when you're looking at it in comparison to some of the stars in those genres, it suffers a bit.
Especially since we've got an upcoming game that is in the same general ballpark and stomps the ground with this. Dead Cells. Like, it's going to be one of our first reviews for season 10, and granted, I haven't played in a while. I've been busy with the with the current games of the week, but I did play it for the interview, and just from what I remember, that is an incredibly tight game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard reviews of Dead Cells, and they have generally all been quite positive.
Yeah, it's like it was amazing in early access, which is something you usually do not hear.
But enough about other games, right?
Yeah, it's like, I'm just bringing this up because this game does not exist in a vacuum. Like, it's fun, and I can understand what they were, why they would go for this. Like, this kind of loose control structure is more endemic of Japanese game design. Especially like Japanese Dojin. I'm not. I don't think this is a Japanese developed game from what I've seen here. Like, it looks like it comes from Europe. Mm-hmm. It's kind of designed in that style.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so the other things about this game, there are 3 different starting characters. One of them has 2 different, I forget their names. It's been a while since I played it.
Mm-hmm.
But one of them starts with basically like a time bomb. One has jumping boots, and another one has a radar for one of their like 3 or 4 things. Everybody starts out with a melee weapon and a gun,
right,
and grenades. And the grenades can blow up terrain.
Yeah, I exclusively played with the time bomb character, because you get infinite time bombs, and another major mechanic is blowing up shit.
The grenades have limited ammo and a cooldown. And the guns have limited ammo.
Right.
Though I never found I was probably just being obtuse, but I never found exactly where the ammo was.
You find it in chests, and you can buy more ammo, and you can upgrade ammo. Is that like VRT stat?
Okay.
Yeah. Like, and if you get another gun, you will have full ammo, because
in each level, except for boss levels, there is a white chest that requires a key to open. You start the game with a key, and I think in almost every level, if not every level, there's a big enemy you can defeat to get another key if you can survive fighting them.
And you can buy keys from the shop.
Right.
Also worth noting is this is another one of those roguelike games where it will have a bit of boss roulette, as in you can fight multiple bosses, even on like the boss of the first section isn't going to be the same boss every time.
Yeah, I got 2 different bosses. I mean, of the 2 times that I made it to the first boss, I got 2 different bosses. The first one I died too horribly because it was a gigantic eye thing that drops all the shit on you. And then the second time it was this like looks like a mecha death that shoots lasers in a rotating period, but there are platforms you can hide behind. And even without the ridiculously powerful weapon I had that time, that boss did not feel very threatening.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Like
again, it depends on what your drops are. You could get a weapon that does 5 times as much damage as the thing you could start with. You could get literally the exact same gun you already have.
I mean, that's roguelikes in a nutshell, really.
Right.
And it's kind of why, after playing so many permutations, roguelikes are just not a favored game style of mine, because it relies too much on luck.
Yeah, especially since you can end up committing a good amount of time to a run in this game.
Yeah. Mind you, that is a personal preference thing. As far as a representative of the genre goes, it's fine if, a fairly bog standard playing of those tropes.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just that there are some games in this genre that are freely available that are way better than just fine.
Yeah. It's also like roguelikes have been getting weird. Very, very weird.
Mm-hmm. At least this one does have some progression. Like, it feels like it would take me a long time to get good enough to actually acquire a lot of progression. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to commit to the game, it does feel like you would eventually improve to the point where you would have a lot of an easier time getting through the earlier areas.
Yeah.
Or you could skip to later areas.
Yeah. I mean, I actually do wish I had had more time to play this. But, I think I was the only one who was really working on Unavowed, so...
Yeah. And I picked up a copy of this on my own because it's a genre I like. I had a decent amount of fun with it. I don't regret buying it.
No. And in terms of pricing, it is $9.99. I'm like, that's perfectly fine for this game. Like, especially if you like this, the roguelike style.
Mm-hmm. If this was a $25 game, I'd say that was a little high, but it's
if it was $25, it'd be fighting the same price bracket as Dead Cells, and
right.
No.
Yeah, it knows it's not a full price indie game, and that's fine.
As far as the PlayStation physical versions go, so that I believe was released by Limited Run Games, if I'm remembering.
So in other words, if you don't have it, you're not getting it.
Yeah, it's like, if not Limited Run, then one of the Limited Run types. Like, this is an indie game, and those tend to be limited. Yeah, no pun intended. Like the physical versions are kind of predicated on small print runs.
Because otherwise it would be less affordable.
Right. Let's see. Is this game on Switch? I don't know.
I mean, this looks like it'd be a decent fit for Switch.
Yeah, the runs are longer than some, but they're not like long enough that it would be a problem to pick up and play.
Yeah.
Let me check, since I have my Switch right here.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Maybe it's incoming, but this does seem like the kind of game that will eventually hit the Switch. I mean, for Christ's sakes, it's got a Vita version.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, it's for that system that everybody knows about, but no one seems to have. Yeah, I'm not seeing it as coming soon on the Switch eShop, but if it does come to the Switch, that would probably be a pretty good format for it.
Yeah, most roguelikes seem to be better suited for like the Switch.
I mean, Dead Cells is, so.
But
yeah, here we go. Limited run number 157, Xenon Valkyrie for the Vita. $24.99, sold out.
Yep.
Yeah. Looks like Limited Run shipped this out in late July.
Which doesn't mean you can't get it. It's just if you do, it'll be
You're not paying
from a
$24.99.
reseller of some sort.
Yeah.
You're not paying $25 for this. This has kind of been the big complaint with limited run games. Because like scalpers and unscrupulous types pick up the physical version and jack up the prices. I mean, I don't know what limited run can do about that.
So yeah, actually, to go back a couple steps, I have a question have any of you guys played Spelunky significantly?
I played a bit of it, but I don't think that game clicked with me.
Okay.
Similar.
The reason why I ask is because I have not played Spelunky a lot, or like more than barely for a few minutes. But this Xenon Valkyrie reminded me significantly of Spelunky, at least in sort of game flow.
Well, yeah, Spelunky is kind of the 2D platformer roguelike experience.
Yeah, and it has the destructible terrain, and the one thing that I noticed that Xenon Valkyrie does, Xenon Valkyrie keeps track of your runtime, but I never noticed it being like a limit.
Well, and that's another thing about your runtime. If you're trying to speed run, you're gonna be doing it at the start, because like when you go and start at a lower level, it'll add a ridiculous amount of runtime to your ticker. Like just starting at the second area adds 5 hours.
5.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know why it does.
So they want speed runs to be done of the whole game, not just.
Yes. Like if you're speed running it, you're speeding it from the top, literally in this case. Like, let's see, the music. Honestly, the music wasn't as memorable as I thought it would be, given the game and its type. Like, seriously, I'm kind of blanking on the music. It's unfortunate. Anyway, anything else to say about Xenon Valkyrie here?
Yeah, I had fun with it. Definitely check it out. It's inexpensive, but it's also definitely not the best roguelike platformer thingy in the world, and it knows that. And again, we can't say anything about the PlayStation versions because none of us have that.
Yeah. All right. So that'll about do it for this review. Stay tuned. Unavowed is next.